The morning I spotted 8 bulldozers growling at the edge of my 5-acre property, I knew someone was about to regret their life choices. Spoiler, it wasn't me. Those HOA sharks thought they'd finally cornered their prey, but they had no clue they just picked a fight with a former marine explosives expert who legally owned a chunk of land zone for blowing stuff up. From my reinforced workshop, sipping coffee and watching their smug faces on my security feed, I could already taste the chaos about to unfold. 3 years ago, life was a different kind of battle. After losing my wife, Emily, every corner of our old house stabbed at Meher laugh in the kitchen, her hand brushing mine on the porch. The insurance money sat untouched until my therapist nudged me toward a fresh start. That's when I stumbled across this place. 5 acres on the fringe of a cookie-cutter suburb, dirt cheap because of its bizarre zoning. Back in the 70s, it was a federal defense site for testing explosives. When the Vietnam War ended, the feds sold it off, but the zoning stuck. My granddad, a Korean War vet, snapped it up for pennies and left it to me in his will, complete with all the legal permits. The deed, yellowed and creased, had his scrawled note, "Jake, build something here worth defending." I felt at the moment I stepped onto the overgrown load of flicker of purpose cutting through the fog of grief. The house was nothing fancy, just a sturdy box with a fenced-off testing area out back. Concrete pad, blast containment, the works. My job with a private security firm, testing bomb detection gear, made this place a godsend. No more 2-hour commutes to the company range. Fixing up the house became my therapy. I rewired circuits, replaced pipes, and rebuilt the porch, each nail driven pushing Emily's ghost a little further into memory. Neighbors peeked from their manicured lawns, unsure what to make of the quiet guy hammering away at the weird property. Only Tom Harper, a grizzled 70-year-old Army vet, broke the ice with a pecan pie and a warning. "Watch out for the HOA, Jake. They ran me out of my last place over a non-compliant fence. Starts with fines, ends with you signing over your deed." I brushed it off. My land predated their precious sub-VY Shown, and county records exempted me from HOA rules. For a while, it was fine folks waved at my freshly painted mailbox. Some even chatted when I mowed the lawn. Then Sarah Mitchell took over as HOA president, and hell broke loose. Within a week, I got a notice claiming my security fence was an eyesore, never mind that it met every safety code for my zoning. I called the HOA, explained my exemption, and thought it was settled. 3 days later, a certified letter demanded due lot $25,000 in fines for 12 violations. Digging into county records, I found the real game. Sarah's real estate firm had bought the land next door and planned luxury condos. My property was the last puzzle piece for their $1 million lake VYEW. The harassment hit like a blitz. Fake noise complaints brought cops to my door. Anonymous calls to my boss hinted I was unhinged. Trash appeared on my lawn right before HOA inspections. I stayed calm, documented everything, and dug deeper into Sarah. Her husband ran the county's biggest construction firm. Their friends packed the HOA board, and their influence snaked through the zoning office, tax assessor, even the sheriff's department. This wasn't just a nosy HOA, it was a mafia in khakis. They watched my every move. My mailbox got smashed, followed by a citation for improper maintenance. My work truck, legally parked, racked up tickets despite clear exemptions. When I installed security lights after someone slashed my hoses, I got slapped with light pollution fines. One night, while I was away for training, someone broke in, rifled through my property files, and left. The cop who showed up shrugged it off as kids, refusing to dust for prints. That's when I moved my deeds to a fireproof safe under my workshop floor. I fought back with my Marine training, intelligence, preparation, defense. I rigged the property with cameras disguised as rocks and bird feeders, motion sensors pinging my phone, and mics catching every word within 50 feet. Footage piled up HOA, board members snooping, a county tax assessor, bankrolled by Sarah's husband, measuring my fence, even Sarah herself jotting down my license plate. I met Lisa Chun, an environmental lawyer down the street, who'd heard rumors I was stockpiling bombs. Over coffee, I showed her my permits and footage. She was Lee VYD. sharing her own story. Sarah had threatened foreclosure over her bamboo fence and organic garden. That night, Tom Harper brought 3 more neighbors to my Lee VYing room. We swapped stories, fines for a wheelchair ramp, citations for religious decorations, threats over a medical air filter. It was clear Sarah was targeting anyone who didn't fit her VY shown or whose land she coveted. Then came the fake condemnation notice, claiming my property was a public safety hazard. I called Dan Carter, a retired judge from my veterans group, who confirmed it was bogus but warned the county was sniffing around my zoning exemption. As we spoke, my cameras caught survey stakes hammered around my land, branded with Mitchell Luxury Homes. At the county records office, I found someone had tweaked the digital maps to shrink my property. The paper originals, thank God, showed the truth. The clerk, a veteran named Evelyn, whispered about 3 other properties altered the same way, all tied to Sarah's husband. She handed me certified copies and retired 2 days later to convenient to be chance. Dan laid it out over burgers at a diner 20 miles out of town. This is fraud, Jake. Altered records, fake permits, bribes, it's a conspiracy. My zoning, tied to federal defense history, was ironclad, but enforcing it against Sarah's cronies was the trick. A deputy, Mike Torres, slipped me a state investigator's card. Hitting Sarah's crew was fast-tracking permits illegally. From a payphone, I called the investigator, who agreed to re-VYEW my EVY Denke. Hope flickered. Then Sarah showed up at my door with 2 board members and a nervous city attorney, my cameras rolling. You're fighting a losing battle, Jake, she snapped, jabbing a finger. This neighborhood's MOVYing up. Your land's a danger, and I'll make your life hell until you sell. Her mask slipped, her hand trembling, her smile tight. The attorney squirmed as I asked, "Is that a threat, Ms. Mitchell?" Lisa, watching from across the street, later showed me maps pro-VYing Sarah's condo plans, ignored protected wetlands on my land of federal violation that could stall her project for years. We built a war chest, altered records, fake permits, trespassing footage, NVY environmental data. Dan mapped our fight property rights, procedural errors, NVY environmental laws, and criminal fraud, each hitting a different jurisdiction Sarah couldn't control. Then, at 3 a.m., my alarms blared. 8 bulldozers lined my property, HOA board members directing, Sarah VYing emergency demolition permits. The cops, led by Sergeant Cozy with Sarah's husband, called it a lawful operation. The permits were laughably fictional seals, wrong ordinance numbers, citing a repealed law. I lit up the floodlights, started recording, and called 911. With no help coming, I retreated to my workshop, a bunker with reinforced walls and a bank of monitors. As the first bulldozer tore through my fence, I hit Protocol 1. My sprinklers erupted, not with water, but with bright blue crime scene dye, soaking the crew and machines. Hidden speakers blared. You are entering a federal explosives testing zone. Evacuate immediately. Workers froze. Sarah, drenched in dye, climbed into a bulldozer herself, lurching forward. I hesitated, then pressed thunder. Buried subwoofers mimicked explosions, smoke vents billowed, and LED lights flashed like fire. The crew scattered. Sarah's bulldozer hit an illegal water line her team had tapped from my well, sending a muddy blue river toward the lake. Real authorities, fire department, state police, ATF swarmed in. My old ATF buddy, Agent Clara Evans, grinned. Still causing trouble, Jake? I handed over my EVY Denke binders. Fake permits, altered records, Sarah's threats. Neighbors, led by Tom, share their own stories. Lisa presented her wetlands data. News crews captured the blue-stained chaos, and by noon, it was statewide headlines. Sarah, scrubbing dye from her hands, was hauled to the station for fraud and falsification. Her investor's call caught on my footage trespassing weeks earlier broke her. The fallout was swift. Sarah's company collapsed, her investors bailed, and she got probation, fines, and 500 hours of community Sarah VYC planting flowers on the property she targeted. Her husband's firm was exposed for bribes. The sergeant lost his badge, and 6 county workers were fired. The scandal sparked a state investigation into 3 counties, toppling officials and reforming HOAs. My land became a local legend. I turned part of it into a first responder training site and a community garden. With that auction, Bulldozer bought for $1 now, a VY covered sculpture inscribed, "Know what you're bulldozing." The HOA was dissolved, replaced by a fair community board. I helped pass a Homeowner Protection Act, signed into law with a pen now framed on my wall. Sarah, stripped of her license and divorced, worked quietly at a housing nonprofit. One evening, I saw her struggling with a garden bed during her SARE VYCE hours. "Black-eyed Susans need more sun," I said. She nodded, and over weeks we fell into a silent routine digging, her planting. She never apologized, but her story poverty, a deadbeat dad, a hunger for respect made her human, not a monster. Sitting on my porch, watching kids play where condos never rose, I think of Emily. She'd love this Placia home, a community, a fight worth winning. Granddad was right. This land was my stand, and it saved me. What do you think? Did Sarah deserve a second chance? Or should she have faced jail time? Could you stand up to a corrupt system like this? Or would you sell and walk away? Drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you glued to your screen.